Hello, everyone. Here's a quick look at the top trending international news stories making headlines today. If you post an interesting comment during this update, we may add it at the bottom of the screen. We want to warn you the images in this first story are graphic and may be disturbing to some viewers. Officials in Ukraine revealed that 164 bodies have been found in Bucha, a town outside of Kyiv. The massacre of civilians was discovered when Russian troops left the town. More bodies were found in a mass grave, and officials suspect even more bodies will be found in the destroyed buildings. The discovery was made one day after more than 30 civilians were killed and hundreds more hurt after Russian missiles struck a train station in eastern Ukraine. Global leaders around the world called the attack on the train station appalling, abominable, and completely unacceptable. French President Emmanuel Macron stated the European Union will continue to provide humanitarian, military, and financial support to Ukraine. Video from parts of Ukraine is graphic and disturbing. But Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky delivered a passionate speech to the United Nations Security Council, urging the world to not look away. Zelensky told the council it is failing his country. He says Russia's actions are no different than a terror group, and he demanded accountability, urging the UN to do more. A growing number of leaders, including President Biden, want Russian President Vladimir Putin on trial for war crimes. NATO is now gathering evidence to prove it, according to NATO's U.S. ambassador. Ukrainian officials are warning NATO that Russia's attacks could go on for months, and they are begging world leaders for more weapons. Ukraine's foreign minister said, "Either you help us now, or your help will come too late, and many people will die." After seeing the graphic images of dead citizens in Bucha, NATO members agreed to supply new and heavier equipment to Ukraine. Even with the violence continuing, Ukraine officials say they are still committed to negotiating with the Russians. Since the outbreak of the war in Ukraine, Pope Francis has pledged to do anything in his power to bring the war to an end. Now the Vatican is reporting the Pope may make a visit to Ukraine soon. Earlier this week, the Pope condemned the killing of civilians in Bucha by holding up a war-stained Ukrainian flag. A dozen Ukrainian children were invited on stage with the Pope, who then kissed the flag. The Pope also criticized the failures by international organizations to end the war. Officials say Russian President Vladimir Putin is notorious for hiding his money and other assets with family members and others. And the U.S. believes he is using his adult daughters to hide some of his assets, his money, and his luxury possessions. So the U.S. is turning up the pressure by targeting his two daughters with sanctions. The U.S. Senate and Congress also passed bills to revoke trade relations with Russia and ban oil imports from the country. And the European Union import ban on Russian coal will take effect in August. Bjorn Ulvaeus, the founding member of the Swedish pop group ABBA, hosted a Swedish benefit concert over the weekend that raised over $8 million for Ukraine. He opened the concert with a passionate speech about the invasion of Ukraine and pleaded for more support for Ukrainian refugees. He also provided housing for one Ukrainian family. He says Europe has to support Ukraine because they are fighting for all democracies in the world. A little girl named Darina Palinsky turned 10 years old this week. But she had to blow out her candles virtually. Her father in Ukraine decided to send his daughter, wife, and mother to Italy after a bomb flew right over their apartment building and landed a few feet away from their home. When the family finished singing happy birthday, everyone was crying, and they gave Darina a virtual birthday kiss. Sadly, moments later, everyone in her family had to run to the underground shelter after the air raid siren went off. Sign1News will be broadcasting international news updates every Sunday. A big thank you to our Sign1News app supporters. You help make this broadcast happen. You can download the Sign1News app by heading to the App Store or Google Play Store on your smartphone. And you can also watch on Apple TV, Amazon, and Roku. See you next week. Bye-bye.